Husker Sports Network programming begins in 3 minutes. Husker Sports Network programming begins in 2 minutes. This is our final time check. The network will go silent for the final 1 minute. Husker Sports Network programming begins in 1 minute.
And welcome to Sports Nightly, Hour 1 with Jessica Coody. I'm Bill Dolman. It is July 13th, 2021, and here are some of today's sports headlines. All right, time to dry clean your Husker number 7 jerseys, whether it's Eric Crouch, Scott Frost, or even Ricky Simmons. It's got to look good for Fan Day. The athletic department announced today the annual meet, greet, and selfie overload day is set for Thursday, July 29th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. That's Thursday, July 29th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. More logistical information will be made later, parking and such. We just want you to get it on your calendar. All right, the Major League Baseball draft continued today with another Husker who has been selected. Junior pitcher Cam Wynn is the Philadelphia Phillies' 20th round pick. The Lincoln High product transferred home after 2 junior college seasons at Johnson Community College and a brief stop at Texas A&M in 2020. The Big Red's big guy at 6'6" had a 3.12 ERA and 17 relief appearances and limited opponents to a 113 batting average last season. The Nebraska basketball team has finally made official what has been making the rounds the past few days. Alonzo Verge Jr. announced he is leaving Arizona State as a grad transfer and headed to NU. The Chicago native spent 2 seasons with the Sun Devils. 2 years ago, he was the Pac-12 Sixth Man of the Year. Last season, he started 21 games and averaged 14 points. Prior to ASU, he led the junior college ranks in scoring at Moberly, averaging 30 points per game in 2019. At the U20 World Volleyball Championships in Amsterdam, Team USA opened up the second round of pool play with a 3-1 win over Brazil. A trio of Huskers continue to do well. Allie Batenhorst had 11 kills. Lindsey Krause added 5 on just 9 attacks. And they're finally keeping dig stats. Nebraska Batenhorst and Libero, Lexi Rodriguez, both had 9. All right, tomorrow Team USA will take on Russia, whom they beat last week, and the Netherlands on Thursday. More volleyball and more stuff to get on your calendar. The annual red-white scrimmage will be held at the Devaney Center on Saturday, August 21st at 6 p.m. Tickets go on sale on Thursday. That's this Thursday, July 15th at 10 a.m. Tickets are $10, and your best bet for securing tickets quickly is to go to huskers.com/tickets. You can also call 1-800-8-BIG-RED and go old school. Tickets are mobile only, and we are hoping to talk to John Cook tomorrow. That would be pretty cool. Those are some of our headlines. And hit it.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time.
Little chopper, right back to Schwellenbach, throws to first, in time. Huskers make it 9 in a row as they take game one. A terrific pitching performance on both sides for Nebraska. Povich, Buns, Schwellenbach combine on the shutout. Povich gets the win. Schwellenbach his 8th save, and Nebraska takes game one of this series, a final of 1-0.
Povich was as good as I've ever seen him today. The fastball had life to it. The changeup had a lot of late life to it as well. Looking the same out of the hand. He threw the curveball, the slider, and the cutter. I mean, he threw 5 different pitches today, all for strikes. Very competitive, looked like an ace, and we needed every bit of it today.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Bill Dolman, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. With Bill Dolman, I'm Jessica Coody. Welcome into another edition of Sports Nightly. Got a massive show coming up for you here in about 10 minutes. Cade Povich will be joining us on the Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. And then we got some big transfer news to talk about regarding Husker men's basketball. So Armon Gates is back. He couldn't stay away after the hit segment that he had a week ago with us. So he'll be back again to talk about that and the big transfer news with Nebraska men's basketball. Lots of momentum there on the recruiting trail for Fred Hoiberg and company. And again, we got lots of Major League Baseball draft to talk about. Fan Day, you mentioned. So much for it being slow in July,
yeah, right.
Bill.
Yeah, we didn't have to talk about Paul Orndorff yesterday. So, yeah, there has been a lot going on. Yeah,
it's supposed to be one of the slowest weeks, but we told you there's some news coming out. We got some official word on the transfer with Alonzo Verge Jr., so we're going to get to talk about that. But hit us up, give us a text, give us a call on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline, 402-413-2400, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. So, Bill, we talked a little bit yesterday about, this time of year when you start having media days and you start doing all that kind of fun stuff. You start to get the feeling that the season is getting close. And a fun day today with the football team, as I'm sworn to secrecy. There's some little teasers
that are out. This is a good place to keep a secret.
But, the intro video shoot, the big screen, all of that, all of the internal media day is taking place today and tomorrow, and had a lot of fun. There's a lot of personalities. Missing out on having the crowd a year ago and just kind of getting back to normal. You can tell there's a different feel, going into this season.
So you've been here like a week and a half, and basically they're inviting you to all the places to go and starting to entrust you with secrets about Nebraska football things. I've been wondering where you were today, and you come in and you've got all kinds of stuff, and you're like, I'm here. I can't tell you anything, but I'm here, and it was a great day.
And I told you I wouldn't be able to respond to text messages either. So, but shout out to the digital team. I don't know, for those of you that follow along on all of the social media platforms, and this team here is unbelievable, incredible. They're so talented. And, a lot of the players talked about that today, just how a lot of their friends that are at other programs talk to them about how cutting edge and awesome and everything that is done for this team on a social media platform. So that's when within an NLI, day and age that we're in, that's huge.
Yeah, but I'm anxious to see this open that you talk about, because I'm going to go back again in time. And when Husker Vision came to be in 1993, 94, I think it was, the animation for what has become the Tunnel Walk, one of the great entrances in college football, was simply an element called a video toaster. And you had a couple of buttons on a panel, and one of them created this image of a star that kind of circled and then revealed the team, and that was it. And in 1994, going way back to the other century, that was like, wow, that is really, really cool. And a couple of years later, they had these animations with some production companies in town that, look like now, old cartoons from the 1950s, but those were cool. And now what they're doing are basically Spielberg epics,
Yeah, I mean, and it was for a lot of different elements. They kind of went in, again, like the car wash theme, knocking out a lot of different things, but a lot of big personalities. It seems to be a fun group that we're going to get to work with this year. So I'm excited. We got another day of it tomorrow, so we'll bring you a couple of interviews when we can and along the way, but got a chance to sit down with Samori Toure, who cut a little bit of that interview up. We'll bring it to you later on in the show. But, so lots of football that we're going to get to start talking about as well, including Fan Day. Turn up, that's back.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. So fun for fans.
And thankfully, in the evening, and not like in the bright sunshine on an early August day like it used to be when people would show up and it's 120 degrees on the old AstroTurf at Memorial Stadium. But Thursday night, 5:30, 7:30, July 29th. And that really is kind of the big buzz kickoff for the season. The players will report officially and have their first practice a day or so after that. But you start to notice people around the building, and I know there's still a lot of people on vacation, but there are people moving a little more quickly. It's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
Fan Day, tickets are being sold. We got, volleyball, this stuff going on. So yeah, there's an energy about something starting to happen.
And again, it's brought up a lot, but just the atmosphere that is here regarding all sports. But, that was brought up several times today, even without being asked about it, just how excited that these players are to get back in front of these fans here inside Memorial Stadium. And I know that they're got to be excited about the Fan Day and getting to interact, because, I mean, it's been over a year. And then the fact you think about some of these freshmen or, redshirt freshmen going into year two, they still haven't even,
Right.
They've been here for a couple of years and still haven't been able to see it at its full capacity.
You mentioned Samori Toure. He's coming from Montana, right? And they're very passionate about football there. I mean, it's one of the great, not 1AA, but FCS programs in the country, passionate fan base. It's the big show along with Montana State. There will be more people at Fan Day to get autographs and take selfies on the 29th than would attend a Grizz game in Montana. And it's they've got great fans, but there will be more people that day. I remember when I was working here many years ago and somebody said, hey, this is before selfies, could you take a picture of me? And I think it was with Tommy Frazier, I think. And he said, he's got his two kids and he says, would you hold on? And they're like babies. This is Tommy and this is Frazier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
Wow, because I think it was escorting Tommy up the tunnel because I think his day was done.
What was his reaction?
Like, so I said, Tommy, you really need to take this picture, all right? And
That's cool.
yeah, two little ones. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And we just came on the air, but we have got to already take our first break because we've got a big guest coming up next. Cade Povich just selected by the Minnesota Twins in this year's Major League Baseball draft. So we're going to get to chat with him about his time here at Nebraska, what's coming up for him getting selected by the Twins. So we got to step aside here on Sports Nightly, but keep it here. You're going to want to hear from Cade coming up next. Again, this is Sports Nightly brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Go where the summer leads you during the Season of Discovery sales event at Woodhouse Mazda. With a full lineup of CUVs, we are sure to have one for you. From the 2021 Mazda CX-30 to the family-friendly Mazda CX-9, our sales staff is here to help find the perfect model for you. With a suite of features, you can expect more with Mazda at a price that is good for you. Test drive one today at one of our 2 convenient Woodhouse Mazda locations in Bellevue or Omaha, or shop online today.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Oh no! Our IT hero is caught in the jagged jaws of ransomware attacks and phishing scams. Help! Wait! It's Marco's Network Security Solutions to the rescue with life-saving ways to detect hungry cybervillains and stop them cold in their tracks. With Marco's Network Security Solutions, our IT hero lives to surf another day. For more successful network security adventures, go to marconet.com.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly alongside Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody. 3 Huskers selected in this year's Major League Baseball draft, including 2 in the top 100. And Cade Povich selected 98th overall in the 3rd round by the Minnesota Twins, and he is joining us now. Cade, congratulations. Take us back to the moment. How did it feel to see your name called by the Twins?
It was a pretty crazy moment. I mean, it was pretty quiet up until I got the phone call, and I think everything after that was kind of a little bit of a blur, just celebrating with family.
All right, who didn't pay the cable bill? Because I understand you had a problem getting the TV reception, and you didn't exactly see the pick being made. You had to go back and watch it again. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I think when I look back at the video, because we had it streaming on MLB.com on a PlayStation, and I think for some reason I had the controller in my hand and I might have accidentally pressed something. So I think I might have messed something up.
Uh-oh. We had Jeff Christie on last night, and he talked about just your journey and how hard you had to work to get to this moment, to hear your name called so high in this draft. Kind of take us through that and how rewarding it was to have it all pay off and be selected by the Twins.
Yeah, it's just another kind of step in the right direction of where I want to go, which is, being a Major League Baseball player one day. And, everything's kind of started. And I think I'm lucky to have the journey and kind of go through everything I've been through. Just, I think, make me a better person on and off the field. And, I think that drive is going to continue with me and hopefully allow me to get better and progress throughout the system.
In order to have success, you got to be in the right places. So you come out of Bellevue West High School and you went to Shadow Mountain down in Phoenix, and there are thousands of junior college programs around the country. How do you go about selecting the right one for you, I guess even at the right time? And you did have some good success. You went 10-1 there in your lone season in Phoenix. But to get to the right system, how did you make that choice? And then to follow that up, what was it like when Nebraska said, we want you to come back home and be one of our foundational players?
Yeah, it's kind of a process, I guess, of doing research and looking at the background of the teams. Obviously there's a bunch of great ones, but when I was looking at South Mountain, obviously it's in a new area, a different region, and it's hot all the time down there, so it's baseball pretty much 24/7. And in previous years they've sent guys to the draft and to some really good colleges, and I think the year before me they were ranked in the top 25 for majority of the year, and that was something I wanted to be a part of, and I kind of looked into some of the things they did as far as developing players, and it was kind of in the same idea of something I wanted to do. And then, once I got the call from Coach Hartwell at Nebraska and went on my visit, it was kind of one of those dream come true moments. It was something I kind of always wanted to do, and I kind of got the taste of I was finally going to be able to do that.
Both Coach Christie and Will Bold have talked about how you were the first recruit that they were able to bring in once they got here. What did that mean to you to kind of be a part of that and to help them kind of establish, where this program is hopefully going in the future?
Yeah, it's definitely an honor. Anytime I think a new coaching staff comes aboard and they call you and say, hey, you're the first guy that we want a part of our team. And I think that definitely says something about, what they think of you. And, and then to be able to come and kind of have the same plan as him and all the coaches and wanting to put Husker baseball in the right direction and hopefully get to Omaha one year is something I wanted to be a part of.
How were they able to get the new guys in your class to mesh so well with, let's just say, Spencer's class, the guys who were holdovers from the Erstad area? Because it really was pretty remarkable that ship didn't turn around slowly. It was a pretty quick turnaround in terms of chemistry, getting on the right page. You get slammed by COVID in 2020, and that derails a lot. But everybody has talked about the chemistry with the holdovers and the Bolt guys. And how did that work? How were you able to put that together?
I think a lot of it is just, how we're always with each other, and the coaches kind of make it an effort to get guys to hang out with each other, whether that's, eating breakfast or lunch together in the training table, and just letting guys, that might not be as social as maybe some others, kind of force them out there a little bit more. And then I think a lot of it is just, everybody getting along super well and kind of meshing. Everybody, I think, kind of took our team as if it was a brotherhood, whether that's, and I think that also includes, playing like sack or two ball before a game, and just kind of being able to push each other and everybody having the same goal in mind at the end of the day.
Cade, the word that was used to describe you when you first got onto campus, and it's not my word, but was scrawny. Take us through how you were able to kind of, put on the weight. And Coach Christie also mentioned the velocity that came along with that, and just the overall process of where you were when you started here to where you are leaving now, where you're at the position where you are, a pitcher that the Twins felt that they could call on 98th overall in this year's draft.
Right. I think a lot of it was, and I remember this, I think it was probably my exit meeting for the fall, my first year here. And my question to them was, what do I have to do in order to kind of become the guy and hopefully next year have the opportunity of getting drafted. And obviously putting weight on and getting stronger was a pretty obvious thing when you looked at it. And I think a lot of it came down to, them always being on top of me when I'm in the training table or they see me eating food, asking if I'm going to grab another plate or something like that. And we always have snacks in our locker room. So this past fall, I'd always come down with a bunch. And Coach Harvell kind of picked up on that. And so he always calls me Snacks now. And I think a lot of it is also just getting in with Bryce, our strength coach, and grinding it out in the weight room as well.
I'm going to read you one of my favorite scouting reports on Cade Povich, who is joining us, by the way. It says, there aren't a lot of scouting reports available on the free side of paywalls, so we'll just have to take it on faith that Povich is going to be good. So what are the Twins getting? What are they telling you in the brief conversations you've had over the last 24 hours or so about their plans for you in the near future and long term?
Yeah, I mean, they like, obviously, I'm a young kid. I just turned 21, and in the baseball world, I guess, they look at a lot at kind of bi-monthly, and the fact that I just turned 21 and I'm still super young. In my case, I'm very late development-wise. I'm just now starting to be able to get some facial hair, although I don't think my parents would say the same. But, they put an investment in me, and they believe over the next few years that as I continue to grow and mature, that, I'm going to turn into a guy that they can trust to go out and start some games in the big league mound at Target Field.
You talked about the exit meeting and wanting to be what can I do to become the guy? And you earned that Friday night starter's role. What did you learn about yourself in that spot, being entrusted with such a big responsibility for this team?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I kind of learned throughout this year was, just to trust everything. I think there's some times when, you can start doubting, what you may have done in the past, or if a game doesn't go well, start doubting some of the stuff that you did during that game that might make you want to change certain things, whether it be mechanically or whatnot. But I think the biggest thing I learned was just to keep trusting in yourself and, come out every day with the dogfight mentality that you're going to win, and, the team's going to have your back no matter what.
How difficult was it to maintain that after things got shut down in 2020? Because you had a great junior college season going 10-1. You come in with Will Bolt and company. You wanted to do some great things, and then you get 4 starts in, and then the momentum stops. So how were you afraid that perhaps some of the things that you had done at South Mountain or Sun Mountain and at Nebraska, that maybe you had some your momentum was derailed a bit?
Maybe a little bit. Afterwards, me and the coaches had talked about kind of a plan, and I almost looked at it as a positive for me because, while I unfortunately wasn't able to go out and play and finish our season, it technically, the way I looked at it was just another opportunity, another training period, I guess, to where I can get in the weight room, work my butt off, get on the mound in a facility, and just try and get as good as I can that time period before the next season starts.
Coach Christie also talked about your 5 pitches that you have. What's your most rewarding pitch, and what's been the most challenging pitch that you maybe have a love-hate relationship with?
I would say my changeup, probably for both. I think that this year for sure, it's definitely been a high quality pitch for me. am fortunate enough to have had a lot of success with it, and hopefully I can continue building off of it. But in the fall and last year and even the year before that, it was always kind of a hit and miss pitch. The whole thing last year was I'd either throw it really well and get a swing and miss, or I'd throw it right down the middle and it would get hit hard somewhere. So I would say changeup progressed a lot better, and I'm a lot happier with it now.
When did you start to realize or hear that you might have an early call when the draft rolled around?
I would say probably the weekend before. So this past weekend we kind of talked. We had thought maybe it'd be anywhere from the 3rd round to the 6th round. We were guessing probably late 3rd, early 4th, but I think early 4th was kind of the more likely scenario. And then it just happened to be late 3rd, and everything kind of happened.
Nebraska kid, you talked about it being a dream. Now that you had some time, what did it mean to you to play for the Huskers?
Yeah, I mean, it meant everything. I remember I still have pictures of me, probably 2010 and probably even sooner, of me at Haymarket Park watching guys like Jabba and Kubat and DJ Belfonte and all them. And to be able to play on the same field as the guys that I looked up to when I was little was a dream come true is pretty much all I can say about it.
Well, you left a lasting impression, and before we let you go, I got to ask you about the immaculate inning.
Yes.
I mean, when that happened, I don't think people really register how rare that is in baseball. If you look at Major League history, there's over 300 no-hitters that have been thrown, but just over 100 immaculate innings, which is 9 pitches, 9 strikes, 3 up, 3 down, and done. Did you know how big of a deal it was when you did it, and when you look back on it, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I knew I knew it was kind of a big thing, and it's not something that you always see every day, and I think that might have been the first time I've ever experienced it, and I was just happy that I was the one that got to do it. But I know that the next day it was funny because I kind of looked back on it, and I was talking to Coach Christie, and usually in my bullpen before I start a game, I'll throw a fastball for a strike just to end on that. And for some reason that day, I think I threw 3 fastballs in a row trying to get a strike, and I just couldn't. So I got mad and just said, okay, I'm done, walked to the dugout and come out in the first inning and throw all strikes. So I was pretty happy about it.
I thought you were going to say you threw a bunch of change-ups because that's the love-hate pitch, but well done nevertheless.
Last thing I got for you is just what's next for you now that, you got your name called. What's the process like now for you? You talked about what the Twins might want from you, but what's the next kind of process for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It's kind of a fast-moving thing. I think kind of the biggest thing right now is just figuring out what is best for me, and obviously it's kind of something that me and my family are kind of taking in right now, and I think that's the biggest thing is just enjoying it with my family and giving it a week and seeing what goes on after that.
Cade, thank you so much. Congratulations. Appreciate your time. And I know Husker fans appreciated watching you, and we look forward to seeing what the journey leads to next.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Cade.
This is Cade Povich, the 98th overall selection in this year's Major League Baseball draft. We got to take another quick break, but keep it here on Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. On May 7th and 8th, Nebraska celebrated its largest May graduating class in university history. 3,594 degrees were awarded to Nebraska graduates in ceremonies at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Memorial Stadium. Along with receiving their diplomas, graduates also heard inspiring speeches from notable Nebraskans, including legendary coach Tom Osborne.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Husker fans, looking for a seat in Memorial Stadium? Custom 3-game mini plans are available now for only $195. Choose any combination of the 6 games available. Matchups available in the 3-game plan include the home opener versus Fordham, Buffalo, Northwestern, Michigan, Purdue, and Iowa. Don't miss this opportunity to join the greatest bands in college sports and help fill Memorial Stadium. To build your mini plan, visit Huskers.com/tickets or call 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly. Alongside Bill Dolman, I'm Jessica Coody. Just wrapped up an interview with Cade Povich, the 98th overall pick at this year's Major League Baseball draft. Give us a call. Shoot us a text on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline, 402-413-2400. And bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. He was impressive.
Very impressive. And I liked his last answer when you said, all right, what's next? Just take some time and enjoy it with my family. And Major League Baseball, the Twins aren't necessarily, rushing them off into a caravan and saying, get down to Sarasota or wherever because you got rookie ball next week. I like that there's a little time that he can kind of sit and digest it. I'm sure that there's probably some negotiations going on in terms of just what that slot money is going to be, which will probably be pretty nice for a 21-year-old kid. But it sounds like he's at least been able to enjoy the moment.
Yeah, and you mentioned off the top, again, 3 Huskers selected as Cam Wynn, also hearing his name called in the 20th round. So, we talked about this yesterday, but just that's, big when you start talking recruiting and getting guys to the next level.
And congratulations also for not being drafted by the Colorado Rockies, because if you watch the home run derby last night with the balls that were not in the humidor, by the way, so they would launch even farther. But yeah, that's, kind of where pitchers' careers go to a graveyard. So it was interesting watching that last night.
It's fun though that, and there might be some mixed reviews, but I think it's been personally awesome that they pushed it back and we were able to talk about it and really kind of, highlight these guys getting drafted. And we've been able to talk about it for 2 days, and it's not getting interfered with. It's just kind of that's the big news right now.
I remember when doing some pro baseball stuff in the minors and guys talking about being drafted, and they were literally like, okay, get on a bus or get on a plane, get to where you're going, and then they would load up players in essentially a big Dodge Caravan. It's the minors, it's rookie ball, and you'd have, college age, seniors and guys 18 years old that are, just landed on $1 million gold mine, and the mentality and different guys talking about being on that bus going into rookie ball for the first time and thinking, I'm 22 and I'm far along, from this guy who's 18 years old. So, yeah, I think it's an opportunity to get guys matured up a little bit.
And there's no doubt that Cade's going to work at it, because we heard last night from Jeff Christie, and then, it has not been an easy journey for him, and the work that he's had to do, as a pitcher with overall his physical build and putting on weight and the velocity and all of that, just the journey that he's been on, how he talked about he'll be better for it. And, whatever doubters there might be about him, I wouldn't doubt him.
Well, he's going to work at it, and apparently he's going to eat at it.
Snacks.
Good gig.
Snacks.
Yeah, snacks. How about that? Was that breaking news? And I go back to that 2020 season with him. Think about how exciting it was, because he has said, look, and he told us, it was my dream to play at Nebraska. And for Will Bolt and company to make him the first call after a 10-1 season in a pretty tough junior college league, you think, all right, I'm going to carry this forward. I'm going back to the Big Red, and we're going to get this thing started. And they had a pretty good start to the season briefly for a couple of weeks. I remember my head turning when Nebraska beats Arizona State. And who beat them in Phoenix? Cade Povich was the winning pitcher in the game against Arizona State. And that was the one thinking, this Will Bolt thing might work out. It's still early on, but then the brakes stop. And for a guy like Cade, you think, I'm really excited about this opportunity, and now what? But as he said, he had the opportunity to work out a little bit more, mature, eat a little bit more.
Eat a lot more.
Right. So, it turned out that he turned a negative into a positive, and for him, he had a great year, and the immaculate inning and getting into the NCAA tournament, and then being drafted one spot ahead of Kevin Kopps of Arkansas, who went 99th to the Padres.
So we just got a text on the text line. You want to read that, and I will pull it up.
It says, did any of the incoming freshmen get drafted for baseball? The Christo kid was projected to get drafted, and he tweeted something today, didn't he?
Yeah, this morning he tweeted out, wanted to say a huge thanks to all the scouts who took valued time to come and evaluate me and pursue relationships. However, going to school is the right choice for me at this point. Thank you again. Let's work, Lincoln. Bolt era, hashtag Bolt era, hashtag Go Big Red. CJ Hood also said the same thing. Thank you to all the scouts that took the time to scout and visit me this year. As the third day of the draft begins, I'm excited to say I'll be honoring my commitment to Nebraska. Go Big Red, Bolt era.
So, Doug, are you happy about that?
Yeah,
you ought
let us
to be.
know, Doug, what you think about that?
Yeah, get your tickets now. So.
Yeah, I think there's a good nucleus that is coming back, and that's what we've been hearing about ever since the end of the season, but then a really talented crop that's coming in. And, I know that, so far recruiting's been going well, it seems like. So, again, this is only the beginning for the hashtag Bolt era.
And wonder how much momentum there was for those guys when they're watching Nebraska baseball in April and in May and getting into the top 25 and then seeing the way they played in that regional against the number one team in the country. You lose the series, but you gain a lot out of that experience. And again, I thought that was a good pick for Nebraska. You're going to go to a place with 12,000 people as opposed to going playing the NCAA tournament in front of 1,200 people, maybe. And some teams are forced to do that. Nebraska went to the big stage, played well on national TV, and I would bet some of those kids who had committed to Nebraska thought, you know what, that's what I want to be a part of, as opposed to riding the buses in rookie ball, and I'm going to get a better opportunity with that staff and be a part of something special.
And now the NIL thing, which a lot of people have talked about, that might keep kids, in all sports from either leaving, going early, maybe going overseas to play, as we've seen in basketball, to play pro ball for a year, whatever that might be. But, going back to the point you just made, Coach Bolt talked about that, the importance of, would they have liked to have hosted? Would they have liked to have been, have a home field advantage, but the draw itself, it gave an opportunity for these young kids to see that kind of atmosphere and what it takes to play at that level and to be that caliber of a program and just the fan base cheering against you and what it takes to win and compete in that kind of environment, and said they'll take a lot away from it.
Yeah, and you don't want to lose, but I think Nebraska, gained from that series at Arkansas, especially the way they fought, they won, they were heading the final game. Things didn't, go the way Husker fans wanted, but still, I just think that you watch that going, you know what, they really play a great brand of baseball. They're gritty, they're dirty, they play hard, they're respectful. I just think there was so much that Nebraska got out of that. And, look, that was the regional I was focused on, so I didn't watch them all. But I did channel surf, and there were games where it's like, is that an NCAA tournament game? Is there anybody there? Does anybody care?
Yeah.
Well, they certainly did, and Nebraska responded and just came up a little bit short.
And it was one of the more entertaining series as well. Some of those games were blowouts, and that one was competitive. And
who was the other team that was in the regional? I'm forgetting. New Jersey Institute of Technology. The Arkansas fans embraced them, so that was kind of fun too.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, and I would have liked to, and the predetermined sites didn't help either, but. Hopefully moving forward that, some of those issues get worked out. That was one of the things Greg and I did a segment last Friday about the things we would change in the NCAA. And that's one of the things that I said is not just with baseball, but with softball. Like there was not really explanations as to why teams went where. There was no transparency. We weren't, granted any sort of, measuring stick as to why they stacked teams up the way that they did.
Yeah. And you would have had 9,000 people at Haymarket Park. Every session easily. So, why it was so quickly predetermined, when they came out with that list of 16 or 24 sites. And, Nebraska's like, we had our hand up. Didn't you see us? Didn't you call on us?
Yeah.
Why not? Because if you're looking to make a couple of bucks and have a good spectacle for the big tournament, it would have been great in Lincoln.
Well, and then just that, the Big Ten champion, why are they going to the number one seed overall? But there were same kind of questions with the softball seeding as well. Why is Michigan going to Washington? So, I hopefully, again, it was kind of another weird year, but moving forward, some of those things, some of those issues get figured out and worked out.
Just call us. We'll figure it out for you. Yeah.
To lend my expertise to that.
I'm sure you've heard Petty Gasso talk about it maybe a time or two down in Oklahoma.
Okay, we got to take a quick break, but we are back to wrap up hour number one here on Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody. As always, Sports Nightly brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Shop Woodhouse Chevy Buick in Missouri Valley, Iowa, and experience the Woodhouse difference, where our sales staff is here, ready to help you find your perfect new car, truck, or SUV. And with over 100 new vehicles on our lot with more arriving daily, we're sure to have something for you. From the Buick Encore to our heavy-duty trucks, we have the best selection available. Find new roads and shop all of our inventory and offers at WoodhouseChevy.com or visit us at our dealership for a test drive today, making car buying easier. This is Woodhouse.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact. Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef, raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Final segment here on hour number 1 of Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody, and we got some hoops to talk about. But before we talk about Nebraska basketball, I wanted to ask you, what's your level of panic mode for USA men's basketball?
Ooh, not
at all.
Well, I don't know. They're 0-2 in exhibition games, losing to Nigeria, which I believe was the same team the Dream Team beat in 1992 by 80. Or maybe that was Angola. But and then they lost to Australia, which they say Australia, a gold medal favorite in Tokyo, I'm like, there's somebody else that's a gold medal favorite besides the United States? They play tonight against Argentina, so a chance to right things. But I've only watched highlights. They look tired.
Yeah, I mean, with the season just ending, I think the record was they had only lost 2 exhibition games ever in the whole history of Team USA.
Yeah.
Now they've already matched that.
Yeah, they're like 52-2 going in, and now they're 52-4. I don't know. I mean, throwing NBA players together that are just getting out of the playoffs. I'm sure they've got some semblance of chemistry. But, boy, there are other teams out there that look like they have a lot more chemistry and purpose and focus. The Australians said after the game yesterday, we expected to win.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't count, all right? But nevertheless, we need to pick it up a little bit.
I'm not worried. It'll be fine. They'll figure it out. But they still have enough superstars. They'll get it together. But, yeah, I mean, you're just not used to seeing this out of the Dream Team.
But if they
Team USA.
Yeah, if they don't get it done, I'm telling you, the archery team is going to do quite well in Tokyo.
I know.
USA
I was
Archery.
Actually going to transition to that because you will be very busy calling some Olympic sports coming up in the next couple of weeks. And we're going to be talking a lot of Olympics because there's a lot of Husker representation. But what are your thoughts? I mean, with the no fans, there's been some people pull out because they didn't want to compete in front of empty stadiums.
Well, archery doesn't exactly have a loud atmosphere.
Yes,
there are some, though. People do get excited when you get the 10-10-10s and all that. But to watch Simone Biles do her thing in front of nobody, I mean, it was odd to watch it during the Olympic trials, right? But to see what probably would have been a 25,000-seat venue and all the cameras flashing and all that, to see her do her thing, and now to see her do it in silence, that's really going to be, kind of disappointing, I think. And certainly track and field is the grand stage for that sport at the Olympics, and to not see the flash bulbs again when the big events roll around. So it's going to be a different atmosphere. There's no question about it. And the opening ceremonies are really going to be odd.
Yeah. And some of them we heard Mark Manny talking about, some of them might not even be able to go because they're having to practice and train so far away from the actual site.
Yeah, the wrestling team is like 4 hours away. Mark texted in, is Taylor Edwards on the Olympic team? She is a reserve.
She's going.
Yeah,
She'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. We talked with Rhonda Ravello about that and that representation.
But that's another one that's unfortunate because softball and baseball are back in the Olympics because Japan wanted them back in. As the host country, you can say, this is what we want in the program. That's why karate is back in the Olympic program after I don't know how many Olympics that karate has not been, but it's a major national sport and spectacle in Japan. And so is softball. And so is baseball. And to not have that atmosphere at those venues when they're making their return.
Yeah, because you knew that was going to be one of those atmospheres that was going to be really loud. Speaking of Olympians, how about Jordan Larson on the program tomorrow?
Did you nail that interview?
I did.
Yeah, you got it?
Let's go.
Way to go.
One of the biggest names around here. I can't wait to get to chat with her. So she's currently still in California. So before they leave, we're going to get a chance to talk with her and all those Husker Olympians. It's going to be, I always like it when you have some sort of ties, makes you kind of, tied in. I always want to see Team USA win gold medals, right? You follow the gold medal account every night, but when you know people and you have kind of some ties, it makes it you're even more invested.
And Team USA in volleyball has a chance, for so long. Brazil and China and Russia and some of those teams have really dominated. We're familiar with the names that play volleyball, but you don't realize how good those other countries are. But in this last, FIVB season, I think the United States was ranked number 1 in the world. And Jordan has been the face of that franchise for a long time, maybe the most recognizable volleyball player in the world.
All right, that will wrap up hour number 1 for us here on Sports Nightly. Coming up, we got to talk Nebraska hoops. Keep it here with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
There is no better way to support your Huskers than becoming a season ticket holder. And a limited number of Nebraska football season tickets are on sale now. Secure your seat in Memorial Stadium for head coach Scott Frost's 4th season at the helm as the Huskers play host to Buffalo, Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, and more. Now is your chance to become part of the storied tradition that is Husker football. To purchase season tickets, call 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska is one of the best schools in America for student Fulbright scholars. 2021 marks the 4th time that the university has been named a top producing institution by the Fulbright program. Of the 30 Huskers who applied this past year, 10 were offered the prestigious Fulbright. An additional 16 Huskers were named semifinalists.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly, hour number 2 with Jessica Coody. I'm Bill Dolman. It is July 13th, 2021, and here are some of today's sports headlines that we care about. Okay, time to dry clean your number 7 Husker jerseys, whether it's Eric Crouch's, Scott Frost, or even Ricky Simmons. It's got to look good for Fan Day. The athletic department announced today the annual Meet, Greet, and Selfie Overload Day is set for Thursday, July 29th. That's Thursday, July 29th, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. More logistical information will be available later, like parking and all that kind of stuff. We just want you to get it on the calendar, all right? The Major League Baseball draft continued today, and another Husker has been selected. Junior pitcher Cam Wynn is the Philadelphia Phillies' 20th round pick. The Lincoln High product transferred home after 2 junior college seasons at Johnson County Community College, had a brief stop at Texas A&M in 2020. Pitched for the Big Red, had a 3.12 ERA in 17 relief appearances this past season. The Nebraska basketball team has finally made official what has been in the making. It was making the rounds the last few days. Alonzo Verge Jr. has announced that he is leaving Arizona State as a grad transfer and is heading to NU, probably here already. The Chicago native spent 2 seasons with the Sun Devils. 2 years ago, he was the Pac-12 Sixth Man of the Year. Last season, he started 21 games, averaged 14 points. Prior to Arizona State, he led the junior college ranks in scoring at Moberly, averaging 30 points per game in 2019. At the U20 World Volleyball Championships in Amsterdam, Team USA opened up the second round of pool play with a 3-1 win over Brazil. The trio of Huskers continued to do well. That would be Allie Batenhorst. She had 11 kills in the win. Lindsey Krause added 5 on just 9 attacks. And they're finally keeping dig stats. That's right. Batenhorst and libero Lexi Rodriguez got in the stat column. They had 9. Tomorrow, Team USA will take on Russia, whom they beat last week, and the Netherlands will be the opponent on Thursday. More volleyball and more stuff to get on the calendar. The annual Red-White scrimmage will be held at the Devaney Center on Saturday, August 21st at 6 p.m. Tickets, here's the announcement, go on sale Thursday. That's this Thursday, July 15th at 10 a.m. Tickets are $10, and your best bet for securing tickets quickly is to go to huskers.com/tickets. You can go old school and call 1-800-8-BIG-RED. Tickets are mobile only. And speaking of volleyball, Jessica told us in the last hour that Jordan Larson will be joining us tomorrow. I'm going to tell you now that we are pretty sure John Cook will also be joining us tomorrow. He might have grandpa duties, but nevertheless, we're going to try and get him here. All right, those are some of the headlines.
Memorial Stadium. It's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time.
Little chopper, right back to Schwellenbach, throws to first, in time. Huskers make it 9 in a row as they take game 1. A terrific pitching performance on both sides for Nebraska. Povich, Buns, Schwellenbach combine on the shutout. Povich gets the win. Schwellenbach his 8th save, and Nebraska takes game 1 of this series, a final of 1-0.
Povich was as good as I've ever seen him today. The fastball had life to it. The changeup had a lot of late life to it as well. Looking the same out of the hand. He threw the curveball, the slider, and the cutter. I mean, he threw 5 different pitches today, all for strikes. Very competitive, looked like an ace, and we needed every bit of it today.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Bill Dolman on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hour number 2 here on this Tuesday edition of Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I am Jessica Coody. Coming up, we have Armand Gates. He was such a hit a week ago. We brought him back for another segment. We might have to make it a weekly thing because he brought the energy and we need it again on this Tuesday evening. So, no, Armand's going to be in to talk about the latest big get for Nebraska men's basketball, Alonzo Verge Jr. But hit us up on the text line. Give us a call, 402-413-2400, the Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline sponsor, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. And speaking of, Bill, you are the historian around here. We got a text talking about the discussion. I just lost it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Always wanted to hear a discussion on the best athletes out of the Omaha area. Excluding Bob Gibson and Gail Sayers, they were by far the best, maybe 80s on.
Maybe 80s on. I'll give you a name that comes to mind. And actually, two names come to mind, but I don't know if I should because they didn't become Huskers. Dadgummit, as we say around these parts. Greg Olson was a pitcher for Omaha Northwest right around the mid-'80s. His dad was a longtime high school baseball coach, and I think Greg was in high school probably about the time I was. Thankfully, I didn't have to face him. But Greg Olson was such a dominant pitcher that I'm not sure his ERA might have been like 0.01. And I think he averaged like 4 strikeouts per inning.
Wow.
As dominant as he was. Went on
Did
to
he
play.
have immaculate inning?
Yeah. He would have, in high school, he could strike out guys on 7 pitches. I mean, he was just so dominant. He went to Auburn and then went on to play, pitched a long time for the Orioles, I think, in the Braves organization as well. But that dude was really good. And the competitor in me tells me it would be best if I didn't hit against him. Mike McGee is another one from Omaha North, as I recall, a basketball player, went on to Michigan, played on some of the great LA Laker teams in the 1980s. So those are a couple of guys that come to mind. But I might have to start going back in what we call a Rolodex.
Yes.
To pull off some other names as this goes on.
We might have to bring that back in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And
it's a good assignment, too, for Jessica.
Yes.
Who was brilliant. But, you
I got to learn the history.
Deep dive into the great athletes of Omaha.
This helps me. There's a homework assignment. We didn't get the name, but we appreciate the text.
Didn't put Johnny Rogers on that list, though, as excluding. I think you got to put Bob Gibson, Gail Sayers, and just because of the legend that Johnny is here, I'd put Johnny. Bob Gibson is one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Yeah. Well, we've got some hoops to talk about. Huge recruiting news once again. I feel like it's coming so often now, so consistently in regards to this Nebraska men's basketball team. And not surprising because when we had Armand Gates here, what was it, last Thursday? When was it? When did he come in? Last Tuesday?
I don't know.
Anyways, but he talked about how the momentum in recruiting has been huge with Coach Hoiberg and his NBA ties, and that the system and the style of play translates, and guys want to come play for that and learn under that system. Yeah,
and to have that name, right away, that just gets your attention as to who the head coaches are around the country and where they come from. At Nebraska, it's Fred Hoiberg. And that name's been around the top of mind in college basketball and the NBA for over 20 years. I mean, the great days he had, as the mayor of Ames as a player.
Yeah, the mayor. I again, just came from Oklahoma, and Buddy Hield, who was the Big 12 Player of the Year, broke all kinds of records. When he was in his run, I think his junior year was Coach Hoiberg's last year at Iowa State. And this just, speaks to the level of respect that, Coach Hoiberg had when he was in the Big 12. When you talk to players, and every rival's different, but with Oklahoma, now who's the biggest rival, you'd say?
With Nebraska?
No, for Oklahoma, Texas or Oklahoma State, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, during that time, Buddy, I asked him, who's this basketball team's biggest rival, and he said it was Iowa State, just because of the level of competition, and they, the way that especially when they went up to Ames, they never. During Buddy's time, I don't think they ever won in Ames when Coach Hoiberg was there, but a lot of respect for Coach Hoiberg from opponents and even guys that he was playing against. I mean, I think he was probably most guys at Oklahoma. I can only speak for the guys at Oklahoma, but it probably is across the board one of their favorite coaches that they played against, right? Yeah. So I think that translates, and look what he's able to do now, and in the recruiting scene. I mean, just fantastic.
Players know who they're playing against. They may not always know the full resume of the coach that they're playing against. With Fred Hoiberg, it's Fred Hoiberg, NBA.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, if they've been in the league, players care.
Yeah.
They play who they're playing against, And then, guys, where can I go for that kind of pedigree?
Well, they would just always talk about how tough of a matchup it was. So, Buddy Hield was a part of a team that went to the Final Four. And, they at the time might have played some Iowa State teams that on paper, quote unquote, weren't as talented, but they were just always so well coached. They were so hard to match up against, and that just kind of speaks to the preparation that Coach Hoiberg puts in place for his teams.
Yeah, and probably a different system. Now, Fred was at Iowa State before he was in the NBA, but probably a different system because Fred was in the league.
Yeah.
And so when you're playing Iowa State, it's not like you're playing, the same system that Oklahoma State. I'm going back when Eddie Sutton was at Oklahoma State. You knew exactly what Oklahoma State was going to do. You knew what Bob Knight teams are always going to do. But when you're playing against a coach that had been in the league and is bringing those principles to the college game, that's a different game to prepare for. It's kind of like in football preparing for the option. Not everybody does it.
But, and you had talked about this, this first couple of days that you were here, just the way that they were playing at the end. Nobody wanted to play Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
They're just, the way that he gets his teams ready and the matchups and just how they play is just not fun when you're an opponent. I mean, it's fun because from a competitive standpoint, but he's a heck of a coach.
Yeah, 7 wins. I don't think we really want to play them at the end of the year. That was, and he never, as the way things were going last year, you never saw a change in demeanor. From my vantage point from afar on television or reading about it and following the Huskers online and all those kinds of things, you watch them at a press conference. Reminds me of a football coach that was here for a long time. Never too high, never too low. Trust the process. Get through this season, and then we'll start to see the progress and the fruits of what we've been doing next year. We started to see a little bit last year. And now with Alonzo Verge leaving Arizona State as the newest guy coming to Nebraska, he's attracting big time names.
Yeah, and it was only a couple weeks ago that he was basically the top transfer on people's boards that were kind of, projected, that were left in the transfer portal that people could get. He was one of the top guys that were kind of left out there for teams to go after. So
yeah, that's I remember as a kid looking at the transactions in the newspaper and the agate copy on the back page, and it was trades in Major League Baseball. And now in the college ranks, you see who's available in the transfer portal.
Yes.
It's just completely different. But,
yeah, and he was. I mean, I read an article. I don't know when it was. It was it's in June that he was one of the top available transfers. So
he's a grad transfer. So yeah, wasn't necessarily a transfer portal guy, but a grad transfer.
But top transfer that you could bring in. So yeah, that was a big get. And we're going to get to talk about it and hear all about what he's going to bring to the program. Armand Gates will be joining us on the Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline coming up after this break. We got to take a quick one, but when we come back, we're talking all things. We're going to keep talking Nebraska hoops with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. A new grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture is supporting Husker research in the study of multi-robot systems in ag settings. The almost $500,000 grant was awarded through the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture to Professor Santosh Pitla. Pitla and his team will use the funds to further their research in the use of unmanned ground vehicles and drones on the farm.
Shop with confidence at Woodhouse Ford. Take advantage of our current offers and vast inventory selection with features you want at a smart price. Schedule a test drive today or shop online with our streamlined sales process. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at WoodhouseFord.com. Choose your experience and find your next vehicle at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
All right, welcome back to Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody. We're still working on getting Armand Gates on the line, but hopefully he'll be joining us soon. You got a debate going on here.
In my head.
No, we got some more texts rolling in. There you go. Eric Strickland, Buddy Carlisle. We have
Amon Green. Yeah, good call there, Steve in Bellevue.
Daryl Stovall, drafted in 3 sports, Creighton basketball player, drafted by the Clippers, Cowboys, and White Sox. That's impressive.
Wow, that reminds me of Tom Kropp, not an Omaha guy, but an Aurora guy, back in the 1970s, drafted by the Washington, can I say Bullets? Yeah. Washington Bullets, I believe Pittsburgh Steelers. Tom Kropp was a great athlete back in the 70s, who was a multi-professional league draft pick. Pretty impressive. All right, I came up with a couple of more, and guys who went to Nebraska from Omaha, great athletes. Jim Hartung, gymnast from Omaha South, won an Olympic gold medal in 1984 with the United States men's team. Phil Cahoy, I think, is also from Omaha as well. I'll give you another one. Dave Remington has got to go down as one of the most unique athletes of all time because he was the Big 8 Offensive Player of the Year as a center.
Yeah.
Football center, Big 8 Offensive Player of the Year.
Got a trophy named after him.
Yeah, a trophy named after him. Spent some time in the AD chair here at Nebraska. Just a great guy.
You got a trophy named after you. You got to be at the top of the list.
You're the best center of all time. But he came out. I first met Dave Remington in the Shrine Bowl. I was a kid working as a ball boy at the Shrine Camp, and Dave Remington was a senior out of Omaha South High and shows up at camp, and at that time may have been the biggest human being I had ever seen, and he was like 18. Bright orange red hair, and had a great career at Nebraska.
All right, we have Armand Gates on the line. He finally answered our phone calls. Coach Gates, thanks for joining us. Big news for you guys today. But I think, first of all, you had so much fun on the show with us last week. You just couldn't stay away, could you?
Oh, absolutely not. When I was asked to jump on again, I couldn't turn it down.
Hey, you got yourself a fellow Chicagoan in Alonzo Verge Jr. How excited are you guys about him?
Oh, extremely excited. He becomes a huge asset to our program due to the loss of Delano Benton. Clearly a really good player in the Pac-12, being a sixth man of the year in his junior year there, which was his first year there because he was a junior college transfer. Then the second year, every stat improved in his stat line, and he became a starter. So he did not win that award again, but he averaged 14, 4, and 4. So big numbers that we add to our roster.
Armand, how does it work to find these guys in the transfer? He's a grad transfer, but along those lines with the transfer portal, about bringing them in. What is the process? And as Jessica mentioned, Alonzo was one of the top available transfer players just a few weeks ago.
Oh, no question. The process, this process was done by Coach Abdel Massey. He does an unbelievable job recruiting and building relationships with transfers as they did at Iowa State. They brought the same mentality over, but it's just about a quick relationship build. You really have to call and talk to the kids about what they kind of want to hear, and that's, hey, we're going to help you improve playing an NBA system for your last year in college basketball, or your 2 years that you have remaining in college basketball, and hey, you get to play under NBA head coach, a former NBA, I believe not GM, but I forget what but it was in the administration part of the NBA that Coach Hoiberg was involved in.
I haven't watched, hours and hours and hours of film on Alonzo, but I have watched quite a few highlights, today. And it seems like the first kind of word that popped into my mind in watching it is he seems to be a finisher at the rim, just the way he can get there. And then, boy, he takes some contact and still can finish at the rim. Is that kind of what you guys are getting in him?
Oh, 100%. The kid. What we get in Alonzo is a playmaker, someone that he can be a shot clock end of game guy, end of shot clock guy, last second shot type of guy, because he can break down any defender off the dribble and also share the ball with his teammates, or he can also, like you said, take that contact because he's a wiry, strong prospect. So, and that's what's intriguing about him in the NBA, that he can create those one-on-one opportunities and create opportunities for his teammates and also for himself to score. So, again, he's a huge asset to our roster for this upcoming season, and we're extremely excited about him.
We're talking with our new best friend, Nebraska assistant basketball coach Armand Gates. How important is it to bring in a guy who is a veteran college player? So many of these players in the transfer portal have been one and done, or 1 month and done, and then they're off to some other place, and some might be playing in their second or third system, and they're just a couple of years out of high school. But here's a guy who did play some JUCO ball and then goes to Arizona State for a couple of years and comes in as a grad transfer. How much does that maturity help you out in being able to plug and play?
Oh, I mean, in a huge way. That's why we're extremely excited about him, because his experiences that he went throughout his college career, all the adversity that he's faced throughout every course of a game, academic career, just all of that. Because, I mean, we recruited him to be a total person, obviously, as well, to get a master's degree as well from University of Nebraska. But he also has that going to play in the NBA. So just getting an opportunity to work with him daily is tremendous. He comes with that experience that he could tell the newcomers and other guys that don't have that experience. But every year this kid has improved. His first year in college at Moberly Community College averaged 20 a game. Second year averaged 30 a game.
Wow.
Went to ASU, Arizona State, and averaged 14.1, and then his second year averaged 14.3. So the kid is tremendous.
How much momentum do you guys have as a staff on this recruiting trail right now? It seems like you guys just big news after big news.
It's Jessica, say that one more time. I'm sorry.
How much momentum do you guys have as staff on the recruiting trail? It seems like big news after big news you guys are bringing us.
Oh, you know what? No, it's huge on the recruiting side. It definitely helps bringing in the caliber player of Alonzo, because he was testing the NBA draft out. So he just pulled his name out of the draft, and again, we were one of the schools that jumped on him right away and stayed in touch with him due to the fact that Delano may have made that move if he had a great experience, which he did, and we were lucky enough to get Alonzo.
Well, most importantly, how are you doing? I mean, you came here limping with a cane, and you were Big Daddy Kane around the house, you told us. So we're hoping that you're back, 100%, and understanding now that those, father time doesn't lose. So when you have to go one-on-one against Alonzo and company, to take it easy.
Oh, you know what? Hey, I'm doing much better. Hopefully, in the next couple of days, I'll be out of the boot. But the cane is gone now, so I lost the name Big Daddy Kane. So I'm a little upset about that. But I'm happy. But mentally, I'm not happy about that. But definitely healing and excited about the future of the Husker program.
We are too, and we promised we wouldn't keep you as long this time, but we appreciate you hopping on and giving us the breakdown on what's to come and what we can expect from Alonzo. And we'll keep you scheduled on for your next week's weekly appearance here on Sports Nightly.
Hey, Hey, I'm excited about it. I'm glad I inked in my spot on the air.
Anytime you want to come back, we'd love to have you.
I love it. Thanks, you guys.
All right, see you, Armand.
I mean, again, big get. Seems like a guy, I don't know how much, if you were able to watch any film on him, but, can off the bounce, get to the rim, distribute the ball, pull up, jumper, can score on multiple levels. That's always a good addition.
I'm wondering just how many guys in junior college average 30 points per game, because it seems like anybody that's a big-time recruit, they average 30 points a game in junior college. Junior college National Player of the Year. Alonzo wasn't, but how many National Junior College Players of the Year are there out there? Like thousands of them, it seems like every year. But 30 points per game at Moberly, which is a fantastic program. Dane Altman used to coach there before he went to Kansas State and Creighton and on to Oregon. So a noted program and out of Chicago and now to Lincoln.
He was one of the top recruits coming out of JUCO, obviously. I think that's needless to say, with 8.2 assists and 30.9 points per game, shooting 49% from the field. Two-time NJCAA All-American, set school records with over 1,600 points and 486 assists in 2 seasons.
The other thing that I think is a bonus, and it kind of dovetails to the question I had, getting a grad transfer, a mature transfer. The difference between an 18-year-old transfer and a 21, 22-year-old transfer in the world of college basketball is fairly significant. And I know we're all excited about Bryce McGowan's a 5-star recruit coming in and being able to play with his older brother is great. But he's still a freshman, and he's still going to be playing some great opponents, Bryce, in non-conference play. We've talked about Auburn and North Carolina State, the Kansas State and the Creighton games, and the others in non-conference play. And then you get into arguably the toughest basketball conference in the country in the Big Ten. He's still a freshman, right? To bring in a guy with Pac-12 experience and some maturity, I think has to take some pressure off of the 5-star so that he can get acclimated a little bit better with Delano Banton staying in the NBA draft.
Yeah, I guess now the thing is he's got to get in and kind of mesh with this team quickly, right? So I think I saw he's on campus or going to be soon, but this is a team that's been working out and been playing together and playing pickup balls. We heard Coach Gates talking about the other day, so he'll need to get in and because chemistry is a big thing for a team as well. But a veteran guy like that also understands how to do that, how to mesh and fit in with a team, whereas younger guys don't all the time.
Yeah, and he might speak the language of a Fred Hoiberg. He's been around and can adapt to the system, because as we were talking about earlier, what Fred is doing with an NBA system, not everybody in college basketball is running that kind of system, but he's been around long enough to be able to pick it up quicker than most.
All right, let's take another quick break, but we still got lots to talk about here.
More Omaha guys. I'll try and think of some more Omaha.
Yes, rack your brain. You were literally talking to yourself during the entire break, so keep it
Jessica's
coming.
Looking around going, who are you talking to?
Yeah, you were looking out at the field, like the construction out there, like it would bring you some inspiration. We'll still have lots more fun here to come here on Sports Nightly. And shoot us a text, give us a call on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline, 402-413-2400. Keep it here. More from Sports Nightly coming up next.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Husker fans, looking for a seat in Memorial Stadium? Custom 3-game mini plans are available now for only $195. Choose any combination of the 6 games available. Matchups available in the 3-game plan include the home opener versus Fordham, Buffalo, Northwestern, Michigan, Purdue, and Iowa. Don't miss this opportunity to join the greatest bands in college sports and help fill Memorial Stadium. To build your mini plan, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 1-800-8-BIG-RED. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're prepared for life, get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. A new grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture is supporting Husker research in the study of multi-robot systems in ag settings. The almost $500,000 grant was awarded through the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture to Professor Santosh Pitla. Pitla and his team will use the funds to further their research in the use of unmanned ground vehicles and drones on the farm.
Shop with confidence at Woodhouse Ford. Take advantage of our current offers and vast inventory selection with features you want at a smart price. Schedule a test drive today or shop online with our streamlined sales process. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at WoodhouseFord.com. Choose your experience and find your next vehicle at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody. And Bill, you've got a full-on discussion going on over here on the Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline.
Yeah, I didn't see who sent in the name Marlon Briscoe, but great call. Now, I will say the initial question was, how about the 1980s? Because
80s and beyond.
80s and beyond. Okay, so Marlon Briscoe, a historically significant athlete, not just a great athlete, played quarterback for the Denver Broncos, first African-American starting quarterback in the NFL, as I recall, in addition to being a great player in Omaha. I think he was an Omaha Tech guy, too, like Johnny Rodgers. Now, that predates me just a little bit, but I would go along with that. I've been trying to go through Omaha high schools, and who may have made headlines back in the day. I was pretty happy that I landed at Omaha South with Remington and Hartung and Cohoy. There was a time back in the early 80s where there were some great high school basketball teams, and Nebraska had Ron Kellogg and Kerry Trotter and Bill Jackman out of Grant, Dave Hoppin, and like 7 guys in one class went Division I basketball, as I recall.
Wow.
Yeah, and Kerry Trotter. Ron Kellogg, escaped to Kansas. Kerry Trotter, I think, ended up at Marquette. That was an incredible class of basketball in 1982-83.
Yeah, the original guy, he didn't send us his name. He just sent us his name. He said, y'all are cool. Thanks for bringing up the topic. So many good ones. So
Well, play along.
Yeah. If you got some, if anyone else is listening and wants to get in on the discussion, Bill, he's going to try to top you in the next commercial break if he can think of any more. We talked a little bit about this off the top, but had the, all the internal media day with the football team today. So getting close to gearing up. July 30th is the First day of practice, but also announced today, July 29th, Fan Day. So we're getting close with all these announcements coming out in less than 2 weeks, almost, 2 weeks away almost.
Couple great things about Fan Day. Well, or regarding what you've been doing, you've got to log all the tape that you got today, or whatever it is, digital files. So I don't have to do all that. So you did all those
You're
interviews.
dating yourself when you say log the tape.
When I got my X-Acto knife and my tape to edit my reel-to-reels. So I'm glad that you have to do that and not me. What was Fan Day like down in?
Sorry, Steve, I missed it. I missed the other text. That was Steve who brought up the topic. So shout out, Steve. Keep them coming. Anytime you want to give us a topic, we love it.
Yeah. What was Fan Day like in Oklahoma?
It was just restricted to young kids. So I think it was like 12 and under. So,
really?
But yeah. So I'm excited to see what it's like here. And
well, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say they're 12 and under then, and they're going to be a little gray in the hair, I'm guessing. But there will be thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah. I have appreciated just I keep saying it, but I think I'm going to be even more blown away by it the more we get closer to season. We mentioned the ticket sales going on sale for a red and white scrimmage for volleyball. I mean, how many programs in the country sell tickets like that to a scrimmage? I mean, not many.
For volleyball.
Yeah.
And we've been talking volleyball every day this week and getting, folks joining us talking about it. And
a lot of basketball teams across the country have free entry to a scrimmage.
Right.
And the fact that, tickets sell to a volleyball scrimmage, that's amazing to me. So
here's another Nebraska thing for scrimmages in the fall. Chili and cinnamon rolls.
Chili and cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get your chili and cinnamon rolls when you go to the soap scrimmage at the high schools, Was that an Oklahoma thing?
No. Nope.
It's kind of like a runza, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
Did want to get to this for you guys. I got a chance, today at all the shoots with all of the football team to sit down with incoming wide receiver Samori Toure and kind of get his thoughts on going into the summer and being a part of this Nebraska football program. You've talked about why you came to Nebraska, but after spring finished and everything was in the book, how did you feel about your first spring with Nebraska and trying to get settled in and acclimated to this offense?
I feel like it went as good as I could have possibly imagined. I just felt like I developed a pretty good chemistry, with all the players and the coaches. And, I think we made a lot of progress just in that short amount of time. And I'm looking forward to see what we can accomplish this year.
You talked about wanting to take on a leadership role, but having to earn that first. How do you feel like that process has gone for you as well?
I feel like it's been going really good, like I said before, it's hard to just come in and just start being a leader right away. You got to develop relationships. You got to earn the trust of your teammates. You got to go out there and show that you can put the work in too. And I feel like I've done that so far.
What about developing that chemistry with Adrian? You've obviously been pretty good at that in the past. What's kind of been the key for you personally to develop that with a quarterback where they trust you?
It's really just reps. You just got to, it's just repetition. You got to put in the work and you got to get the reps in. And he just has to be able to trust me to be where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there.
That being said, how excited are you about what you could potentially do in this offense?
I'm very excited. I feel like the sky's the limit for this offense. I feel like we've came a long way, just in the past couple months. And I feel like the only people that can stop us is us. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I talked with Adrian, and he, has a goal to take better care of the football. How much pride do you take in that? How much do you put that on yourself to also help him in that area as well?
Oh, that's the number one thing. The ball is the program. As they say, you can't win games if you're constantly turning the ball over. And so I feel like, not just myself, but all of us take a lot of pride in being able to take care of the ball.
Coach Frost talked about the depth and the competition in the wide receiver room. It's probably the best since he's been here. What's the competition been like? How big is that to be able to have guys that you're competing against each other, but also kind of pushing each other to get better?
I feel like that's really important, in any position group, especially receivers. And I feel like we do have a very competitive group. And I'm looking forward to seeing, some of the competitions that we have in fall camp because, there was competitions in spring ball. And, it's friendly, but it gets serious too. So I'm looking forward to it.
Do you have goals in mind for yourself for this season?
I haven't really, pinpointed any personal goals yet. I just want to, be able to do the best I can do. And honestly, my number one goal is to just be able to help the team in any way. I want to score touchdowns.
Being that you're new and, might be your last year playing college, who knows, but how do you approach this summer, knowing that it might be your last?
Oh, I'm all in, and I feel like I've been all in since I got here, and I feel like a lot of other receivers are on the same page. But like you said, for me, it's a little bit different because it's my last ride, it's my last go around. So, I got to leave it all on the field. I don't want to look back, in a couple of years and be like, man, if I just would have worked harder that last summer, So I want to leave no doubt.
And you talked about the how impressed you were with the work ethic of the guys in this room. How's that carried over into the summer? What have you seen in that area in the summer?
I've just seen, a lot of the same stuff, just a lot of hard work and, a lot of sweat being put into this program. And I think we're just honestly working harder as the season gets closer. So I feel like once fall camp gets here and the season comes, we're going to be in the best shape.
You have a lot of experience. There's a lot of guys on this team that has a lot of experience. What does that do for a football team when there are so many older guys that have kind of been in the battle and know what it takes to win?
I feel like that's really important, especially because we have a lot of old guys, but we also have some young guys too. And we take pride in being the older guys that the young guys can kind of look up to. And, we're open to any questions, any advice, There's just a lot of little things that you can only know with experience, and the more experience you have is the better. And what does the wide receiver group as a whole need to do in fall camp? What are you guys looking to accomplish? We need to make plays. That's really what it comes down to. A lot of the times it's on us to make chunk plays, to move the ball down the field, and I feel like that's what we need to do. We need to be explosive, and we need to just do all we can do to get that ball in the end zone.
Well, it's getting closer.
People are really looking forward to seeing that guy. They are very high on him here.
Yeah, I mean, I think this wide receiver group as a whole, it seems like, talking with a couple of the other guys as well, it might be unproven here, but, they seem to have been pretty impressive during the spring. Well,
he comes from a great program at Montana. And, it's a program that has a lot of attention toward it, not what he's going to have here, but nevertheless, he comes from a good background. He comes from a good, solid football background in Montana. So to bring that to Nebraska and get the opportunity that he has, the key to everything is going to be the offensive line. Let's protect Adrian, give him time, and let those guys go up and get it. And we'll be bringing interviews, hopefully every day from here on out, something from football as we get closer and closer and have more events and are gearing up towards the season. So, if something specific you guys want us to hit up, let us know. So we got to take our final break, but we're going to be back to wrap up hour number 2. Get us your final thoughts in on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Again, that is 402-413-2400. Back to wrap things up after this.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
Final segment here on Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody, and a shout out to Steve, who brought up quite the topic. We had several people chiming in, but did want to get to one first. Jessica, what sports did you participate during high school and college? Bill, what were your sports?
My sports? Don't people know that I played basketball? I scored 10 points in one game once. Aren't people still talking about that night at Norris? Yeah, played a little basketball, summertime baseball, and was not part of all 27 consecutive losses at Fairbury High in the mid-1980s, but about 18 of them nevertheless.
I played basketball.
You had to, right?
Yes, I did. I tore my ACL at the end of my senior year. Had a couple of offers from like smaller schools, but was kind of ready to hang it up, and it was at the very end of playoffs. And so tore one, and then was told there was a 90% chance I'd tear the other one, and was just playing. I started playing pickup ball, all the time, and sure enough, tore the other one.
Did you?
So
I've done both of mine as well.
Yeah. Not fun.
No, not.
I tell this to people all the time. The actual tearing does not actually hurt that bad. It's the surgery that really hurts. But the actual tear, I think a bad ankle sprain hurts worse.
But, you think about when we would have done it in this era of repairing them, and Gail Sayers, who was one of the names that was brought up on our Omaha, great athletes from Omaha topic. Gail Sayers basically blew out his knee with the Bears, and it was casted and immobilized for like 6 months, and the leg just atrophies and your career is over. And now you get an ACL. You're out for a while, but you can come back and be actually stronger than ever. So
yeah, I think a lot of it is the mental part more than really anything, kind of overcoming that. Because, you have to rehab really hard at it, but you can come back, and then it's just more so trusting yourself again.
And I just didn't want to dunk anymore.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I called it good on
that's
that.
understandable.
Yeah,
It seems to be
you just don't want to do that after a while. So.
Doug in Norfolk said, Amon Green, Omaha guy, got two national championship rings and a Super Bowl ring.
Yep. Yeah, that has to go down as one of the great Omaha athletes of all time. And somebody mentioned Jim Scow, came out of Omaha. I can't remember the high school, but was a defensive tackle at Nebraska in the 80s. Solid player. And Rich King. Look, if you're 7'1", playing high school basketball in Nebraska, you're going to be good. You're going to be a legend. He went to Burke and came to Nebraska and got drafted by a team that used to be the Seattle Supersonics that eventually went to Oklahoma City, as you well know. But Rich played a little while in the NBA, but I think he found the competition in the NBA a little bit different than taking on guys my size.
So we have a big show coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Big show. We have Coach Cook coming on, right?
Unless the grandfather duties, take precedent over us. But yeah, we're looking to have John Cook on to talk about U20 World Championships. I still think my idea of charging, to go watch Nebraska practice, because that's going to be some great volleyball. Might fall on deaf ears, but yeah, we'll talk about that too.
And Jordan Larson also going to join the show tomorrow as well. What those freshmen have been doing and continue to do for Team USA is impressive. And you said it, they finally started counting digs. I think they heard our show yesterday.
There's probably somebody from Nebraska who said, I'll watch on YouTube or whatever channel that is, and I'll keep tabs for you. I guarantee you Nebraska fans are keeping track of digs watching that U20 tournament. But it does look like the path is pretty well paved based on what we've seen so far, that might be the favorite for the gold medal. That team from the United States took care of Brazil. They've already beaten Russia, and they have the host Netherlands coming up on Thursday.
Which in that under-20 team has never won a gold medal at the World Championships. So it would be a first for Team USA to do that. So It'd be awesome if those Husker freshmen could do that. What's the potential of the USA volleyball team winning gold at the Olympics this year?
Number one team in the the FIVB, they probably call it FIBA season, most recent season. I think they played just 17 matches, so it wasn't like a ton, but I think they were like 16-1. But oftentimes they get to the Olympics and you think, well, they got a chance, and then they play this monstrous team from China or these great athletes from Brazil, or Russia's always got a pretty good unit. But, led by Jordan Larson, the prospects are good for a medal and perhaps finally for a gold medal. Yeah.
Do you get a sense from NBC folks, the anticipation for this one, just kind of, there's a lot of uncertainty going into this Olympics.
There is, but, they when you're on a call with them, they always talk about it as the biggest show in the world. They take it incredibly seriously. 7,000 hours of programming over those 2 weeks. There's about 4,000 people involved in the production. About 1,500 will be in Tokyo. There will be 1,500 people like me in Stamford, Connecticut. Other people broadcasting out of 30 Rock in New York, Miami, and Inglewood Cliffs. But NBC takes a lot of pride in producing the Olympics. And even though there won't be fans, I think they've probably decided, okay, how can we do this to make sure that the athletes are respected and the people enjoy the product?
You think there will be some pumped-in crowd noise in some of these venues?
I'd rather hear that than see the cutouts. And I know everybody did it. They did it at Nebraska, but it just seemed like a bit of a county fair thing that you wanted to, throw sandbags and see if you could knock them over. I don't think they'll pump in crowd noise. Maybe it'd be too noticeable.
It's just one of those things, like, you gotta. I mean, it's not ideal, but you gotta do it. It's the Olympics. You gotta figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah, and it's coming around in 3 years too.
I know that's another thing that we talked about with Mark Manning. Just for some of these athletes now, there's a quicker turnaround. It's maybe 3 years seems less daunting than 4 years.
Right. Sha'Carri Richardson will have another chance at it. Jordan Burroughs will have another chance at it before he finally does hang it up for good. So, and these Olympics, there are athletes that probably would have been favorites a year ago that had injuries, were having subpar seasons or whatever, and they got the opportunity to rehab and get back to 100%. So as I do my research, I'm finding some athletes that were like, I was actually kind of glad, that we didn't have it. But, listen, you're reading about some of the things that athletes did to prepare. They couldn't leave, like some countries couldn't leave your apartment. Some of the archers I read about, they were practicing on 3-meter targets. This is a 70-meter sport, 20-yard line to the goal line, the other goal line, and they're shooting arrows from 3 meters in their apartment, put the dog in the other room, But some of the stories are just really remarkable, that even though there aren't going to be fans there and you read the stories of the athletes, it is still meaningful, and you will still see a great athletic competition.